Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavamahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
So chapter 7, which is the yoga of knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is called Jnanam and wisdom is called vijnanam. We will discuss the difference between these two very important words to know what it means to say what is intellectual knowledge and what is actualized knowledge. So the first 3 verses that we will now go into will specifically introduce the benefit of this chapter. Okay? We're not going to go into the teaching in the first 3 verses, only a overview, because it's going to help you to prepare what is chapter 7 about. So Krishna in verse 1, which we will now read together. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Maya Saktam Manaf Partha Yogam Yunjanmada Shrayaha Asamshayam Samagramam Yatadnyasya Sitachranu. Okay. Samagramam Yatha Nyasyasi. So Krishna is going to say here, if you follow my teaching, what teaching? The teaching that we're now going to embark on between chapters 7 and 12. If you follow that, the result will be Jnanam. The result will be knowledge of what? Knowledge of my nature. Capital my nature. That means Ishwara's nature, Krishna's nature. In other words, you will then come to know me. When I say me, I'm talking about Krishna. I'm not talking about Andre's BMI. What this means is you will get to know or come to know Ishwara completely. That's Krishna's promise right up front in verse 1. And if you pursue this knowledge, then you will get what's called Ishwara Jnanam. In other words, knowledge of Ishwara. So this Ishwara Jnanam that I just mentioned, okay, what is Ishwara Jnanam? Yeah, the total knowledge, okay? The knowledge of everything. Knowledge of creation, knowledge of whatever you can say, knowledge of that. So this Ishwara Jnanam consists of 2 natures or 2 components. The higher nature and the lower nature. And Krishna will teach us both in chapter 7. Now the lower nature is called prakruti. A-P-A-R long A, prakruti. P-R-A-K-R with a dot underneath T-I. Now just put the word apara aside, I'm going to take the word prakruti. Prakruti has 2 definitions. The first definition is, prakruti means that which is in its natural, untamed, uncontaminated, undisturbed condition. Its original untouched condition. So it is in its original place. It's untempered. And the second definition of this word prakruti is that which is primal. And what is primal? None other than, okay, what does primal mean? The source. What the source, when you go behind everything that we see in this world, when we get to the first source, if there is a first, it's called prakruti. This primal prakruti is triguna. What is the triguna? Maya. Okay? How will you know which prakruti I'm talking about, definition 1 or 2? I will tell you. So there's going to be no confusion. But I need to tell you these 2 definitions first. What does guna mean? I said 3 gunas. Literally translated, it means a string or a thread. What does a guna mean, a string or a thread? Because if you, for example, have a thread, and then you got little beads around it, what holds those beads together? the little string or the little thread. And what are the beads? They're individual components of creation. Whatever you can think of, it's one of those beads. A body is one of those beads. An atom is another bead. Whatever you imagine, that's a bead. And what holds those beads together? The guna. Okay. So we're still on apara prakriti. Okay. Apara prakriti is whatever is physical or material in nature. In other words, matter. In other words, 5 elements. In Sanskrit, that's called Pancha Mahabhuta, the 5 great elements. This is also including anything that is sentient or insentient, like a rock that's insentient, and whatever is sentient is what has a subtle body, like an animal or a plant or a human being. Okay, this is all underneath the category of apara prakriti. This also means that our great avatars like Rama, Krishna, Jesus, any other names we want to say? Go ahead, it doesn't matter. Ganesha, Buddha. We don't say Buddha a lot, do we, right? So all of these names are also apara prakriti. What do I mean by that? The actual person, the being, Buddha, Jesus, the body is apara prakriti. Why? Because it's just matter. And why is it apara prakriti? Because the person is born. They weren't there before. Now they're born. They began. The person began in time. And they will also end in time. So why did I say this? Because to attribute the higher nature, which I will get to these avatars, which I just mentioned, is a mistake. Because these avatars are only a symbol of the higher, but not the actual higher. Okay? We haven't mentioned what the higher is. I'm getting onto the higher. So also when majority of devotees pray or worship Ishvara, in whatever form they worship, we're not interested in what form that is. Majority are worshipping Ishvara in a form of apara prakriti. In other words, it's lower nature. What does lower nature mean? What do we learn so far? Material, physical, 5 elements, 3 gunas, anything that is expressed.
So even Sri Ganesha, which obviously is not matter as we know it in matter, the fact that it becomes a figment of an imagination, it exists on in that level. So that still constitutes matter in the context that we're talking.
If you really want to understand this one word, it's very easy. Anything that is expressed. Ganesha is what? Expression. He wasn't there before, now I need to learn about Ganesha, and now suddenly Ganesha is expressed in its beautiful limelight. Okay, so anything that comes to be, instantly apara prakriti. So Krishna was born of the mother Devaki in a dungeon, very nice story. And it's a person, born apara prakriti. Also in chapter 9, this will continue, so we're not going to miss out on anything if you don't get chapter 7. And Krishna will say, my lower nature is that which binds you. Oh, what could that be?
5 elements.
5 elements, the world, entanglements, samsara. None other than, if you want one single word for that, Maya. In other words, Ishvara is saying, my lower nature is Maya. When I say the word lower, don't go into the Western mode into thinking that is something worse than the higher. There is no better or worse. So once again, Maya. And how is Maya known? There's 2 answers to this. Number 1, you cannot really know because Maya is the cause. And the one that's trying to know Maya is an effect. But the other answer to this is, how do you know Maya? I just said it. Anything that is expressed. That's how you know Maya. The other name for apara prakriti is Saguna Swarupam. What does Saguna mean? Sa means with. So with gunas. And what are gunas? That which a string. And what is a string? Holds the beads. And what are the beads? All of the components of creation. So in other words, apara prakriti equals Saguna Swarupam. What is Swarupam? Nature. So the nature of apara prakriti is that with attributes, that with the gunas, with qualities. Okay, the higher nature is para prakriti, without the A. P-A-R long A. Para prakriti means what is eternal, what is all-pervading, what is attributeless, that which has no qualities. It cannot be named. It's unnameable. It is formless. It is invisible. It is ungraspable. This is also called nirguna swarupam. In other words, it has no gunas. Can someone tell me what this would be possibly pointing to? Of course, we're smart enough to know that, right? So Ishvara is speaking about so far the lower nature, apara prakruti, the higher nature, para prakriti. Also, one thing we have to understand is for a beginner, it is very hard to put focus on something that is formless. Impossible. Because the mind always wants to grasp onto some image, some word, some sound. Give me an om, give me an image, give me a deity, give me something that I can grasp. So this means that a beginner will always express worship or devotion to Ishvara. How? You already know, an experience. Like, a room, a puja, some flowers, some offering, a prayer, something that implies form. Okay, so this means to go around and think how are you wasting your time on this, that is not fair. Because remember, the mind, we all start with very gross, and we all identify with the gross level, and then we slowly, as the mind becomes more sattvic, then we're able to turn attention onto that which is formless, which is none other than yourself, Atma. Nirguna swarupam, without the gunas, is incomprehensible, unnameable. It's formless. It cannot be described. It is only attended to after we have traveled from, as I said, Saguna, nirguna. Okay, so it's a natural progress. Saguna, nirguna. Also, Saguna to nirguna can be compared to Dvaitam, Advaitam. In other words, duality to non-duality. So this means that the non-duality is a natural traveling after having gone through duality. That means duality starts how? Me, I am apart from you. You means the Ishvara, whatever the Ishvara means at that point, and therefore I need the small devotee needs to devote to the big to gain some quality for me in order to enjoy the bigness or the glory of Ishvara, of Bhagavan. Okay? And then later, we go into Advaita. So what is this course? Advaita Vedanta, in other words, that's what I keep saying, the final stage in life. After having gone through everything, we all, no matter what tradition or background you're from, end up in Advaita, or concrete to abstract. Okay, so Saguna to Nirguna, Dvaitam to Advaitam, concrete to abstract, natural progress that we all come to eventually. This is also why the rituals in the Vedas prescribe the whole Karma Kanda comes first. And then you've got the Jnana Kanda comes second. Now, of course, the Upanishads are spread all over in the Vedas, of course. But generally, the rituals come first. Why? Because every person that is born has to perform these Saguna-related rituals in order to purify the mind, to make the mind more subtle, to understand the Nirguna. Okay, so you can see, I'm saying this so you can see how the progress happens, that you're not here by accident. That's what I'm trying to communicate. So Krishna then says, only when you have gained both Saguna Swarupam and Nirguna Swarupam, that is Apara Prakriti and Para Prakriti, only then, in other words, of what? Infinite and finite. That's another word. Okay, so what is Saguna? Finite. What is Nirguna? Infinite. Only when you've gotten the infinite and the finite together, only then your Ishvara Jnanam is complete. This is very important because usually we have a split in a spiritual world. We go into meditation only, into the self only. You're just awareness, that's all you need to know. It doesn't work. Why? Because the other aspect hasn't been completed and usually produces big problems in life. In fact, I get emails like this and they always have to do with this. I've went to these gurus, it's always the same story. I've heard the stories, I've attended Vedanta for 40 years, plus minus, but none of this works. And then I ask, have you done some karma yoga? Yeah, it sounds kind of hard. So you can see what's going on here. In other words, they haven't attended to Saguna Swarupam. Now, Krishna is going to advertise and is going to say, Asamshayam Jnasyasi. In other words, how will I teach you this? Krishna is so confident, so proficient in what he knows, that he's going to say, I will impart this knowledge, or I will transfer this knowledge to you doubtlessly, without any doubts. So that means when you hear this, there will be no doubts, Arjuna, about anything pertaining to creation. It will be completely covered thoroughly. Now the condition is going to come up. So what did I just say? I said, how will I transfer this knowledge to you? That's what Krishna is saying to Arjuna. And the answer is, doubtlessly, thoroughly. However, now a condition is going to come up. Because you're going to say, oh, fantastic. But it's not so easy. There's a condition for this to appear. In other words, how will you receive this knowledge properly? The first word, maya sakta manaha. In one simple translation, you should have a desire to know me. Me refers to Ishvara. You should have a desire to know me. Without desire, nothing's possible. Without desire, then the person is bored. If they're bored, they won't pay attention. If they're not paying attention, they're doing so because they don't think this is relevant to their life. In that case, the knowledge is not going to be assimilated nor captured in the first place. What I cannot capture, I cannot assimilate. So in other words, only if you have desire for Ishvara as your number one destination, only then this condition of imparting knowledge upon you doubtlessly will be true. Why should you have desire? Because in your experience, you know whatever you love, you want to what? Know more about. Is that not true? Whatever subject you love, you want to investigate. How do we fall in love? Okay, when we do fall in love, what happens? We want to know everything about the other person. Is that not what you recognize in your experience? Yeah, the more we spend time with them, we want to speak hours with them. We will know everything about them. So in other words, love demands knowledge. So how do we translate this into bhakti? Because chapter 7 to 12 is all about bhakti. The more I understand, or the more I recognize the glories of Ishvara, the more I want to know about Ishvara. The more I know about Ishvara, the more I have both apara prakruti and para prakruti. And only when I know both, then, what do we say earlier? Then your Ishvara, Jnanam, is complete. Krishna, again, is saying, only when your desire for Bhagavan is number one, then, or your goal is number one, then I will give you, or you will understand this knowledge. Now, objection is going to come up, if you've caught it. I'm going to say the statement, and you figure out the objection. Krishna said, your number one goal should be Bhagavan, God. What could be the objection now?
If you're looking at God as outside you.
Okay.
No, how do I develop the desire?
You can't know God?
Okay.
You have duties to perform in this world. I don't have time to think about it.
Yeah, okay, they're all right. I'll just answer it. So Krishna said your number one goal should be Bhagavan. But what have we been saying from the beginning of last year? Your number one goal should be what? Moksha. So now an objection comes up and it says a confusion. Well, what should be my goal? Should it be Bhagavan or should it be moksha?
Bhagavan is moksha. So
Such
there's
to
no
know.
difference.
Yeah, all right, but it's good. In other words, there is no difference. To want Bhagavan is to want moksha. To want moksha is to want Bhagavan. Okay, so they're 100% identical. They look like two separate goals. So whenever we say your number one goal is Ishvara or Bhagavan or God, they're all synonymous words, it is as good as saying my number one goal is moksha. Well, we have to understand when you're talking about the language of spirituality, the destination for the highest is called moksha. Now that moksha, which is the highest destination in the religious language, is called or is referred to as Bhagavan, God. So this should now clear up the confusion pertaining to different religions speaking about God. We usually think, oh, they're speaking about God, but they're not talking about knowledge of the total, that I'm not apart from the total. what actually saying is exactly the same thing. So in Vedanta, we should recognize that when we say knowledge of God equals what? Knowledge of the whole. Are you apart from the whole? No. Therefore, to one moksha is to one God is to one moksha.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
So, if Brahman is God, would moksha be, like, for me to understand it, similar to the word nirvana, like the realization?
Yeah, it's the same language. It's just a different terminology from a different. For example, Buddha uses nirvana, but also in chapter 5, I think there's a word nirvanam. Krishna's going to say nirvanam, so it's a Sanskrit word.
Okay, great.
Okay, so moksha, nirvana, 100% the same. And Bhagavan. Okay. To ask what is moksha is equivalent to asking what is the highest or ultimate goal of, or that every single human being desires. Because we said the word moksha, so we have to now speak about this moksha. So I said, what is moksha? What does it mean to say moksha? Is equivalent to asking what is the highest, absolute, ultimate goal of every single human being from any background, from any culture. Answer, every human being, and you tell me if you disagree with this. Of course, you'll have different words. Every human being wants independence. Okay, love. Total security. Unconditional security. Peace. Ananda.
Freedom.
Total freedom from desire, from wanting anything. Yeah, happiness. So all of these words, different terminology, but they're all one and the same words. So in other words, to say, what does it mean to say moksha, is to say what does every single person want, and what does every single person want? All of these words that we just mentioned. So, and when we say security, we're talking about, no, we're not talking about 256-bit SSL HTTPS protocol to trade on the e-commerce websites so that the credit card details don't get stolen. We're talking about security of total unity. I do not need anything. I feel completely safe. And even the word feel is we'll just put that aside. Just total security. What Krishna is going to say, Bhagavan is this security. Why? Because Bhagavan is what? Infinite. And what is infinite is what? Total security. Because it is infinite, it has no ending. So therefore the security is limitless. So therefore Bhagavan is infinite, and this infinite that Bhagavan is infinite security, and this infinite security is you. There's no difference. In other words, what do we all want? Absolute total freedom and security. So what is ever secure? That which is infinite. Why? Because when we say the word infinite, it has no edges, it has no ending. So therefore, what is ever completely, limitlessly secure? That which is infinite. What is infinite? Bhagavan. Why is it infinite? Owning to the fullness of Bhagavan's limitless nature, Ananda. That's why it is infinite, and that's why it is ever secure. And that is what we all want. Isn't that strange? We're all seeking for what? Security. So that is infinite. Now, when it comes to finite or finite security, that is what? Bound to space and time. And why is it bound to space and time? Because it is finite. And whatever is finite is what? It fluctuates. So in other words, whatever gives us finite security, do we truly feel ever secure? No. Why? Because inherently we understand it is bound to end. I've gained it, now it's bound to end. So therefore, you can see what I'm getting to. What we all want is that security which has no ending. And what is that security? Bhagavan. Why? Because Bhagavan alone is infinite. Therefore, as number one goal for God, Ishvara, is to what? Pursue infinite, permanent, total security, which is what we all want. And we cannot deny the statement. In other words, to seek finite security is the most unintelligent thing a human being endowed with a much greater intelligence can do. To constantly pander after small, secure things which end in time. Unintelligent. So we need to mature out of that process eventually. Okay, and this limitless or infinite, which is Bhagavan, is symbolized in form. In form of what? Krishna, Buddha, and so on. Rama. So in other words, the actual avatar is finite, but they're presenting us to what? They're pointing us to the infinite. So we need to make that distinction. We're not, praising these beings, we're praising what is it that they're pointing to. And what they're pointing to? The infinite Bhagavan, which you are. When I say you, I'm not saying you are Bhagavan, I'm saying your nature of infinite is. So once again, just to summarize, Bhagavan means security. And to have total security means unparalleled peace, complete independence, total freedom. And we also said the words Bhagavan and moksha are synonymous. Okay? So to want moksha is to want Bhagavan. Okay, so condition 1 now has been complete. And what is that condition? In summary, fix your mind on me, and then I will help you to gain this total knowledge. See me as the ultimate destination, and I will help you get to the ultimate destination. This is called devotion or bhakti. So now another objection is going to come up. So Krishna said, see me as the ultimate destination. So what's going to be now the natural objection? What about everything else? How can I see Bhagavan as the number one destination when I generally need to attend to my worldly pursuits? I need, to pay the bills. How does that work?
Is this where you were saying earlier there's two facets? There's karma yoga and there's also, this is like the devotional yoga, and this is what he's questioning?
It's exactly the same from a different aspect. Karma yoga is more physical devotion through action. This is more through understanding, mental. Okay, so it's more subtle. Karma yoga is very physical, this is more subtle. That's why chapter 7 comes after chapter 3. So you've done your physical now, mind's pure, now you can do subtle. So again, the objection will be, what about other destinations like marriage and work? Fair question, right? Considering your number one goal should be Bhagavan, as Krishna says so. All you have to do is understand one thing. Everything other than Bhagavan is an incidental goal. What does incidental goal mean? It is secondary. That's it. It's just incidental. It needs to be attended to for the sake of keeping, life together. But do not forget that the ultimate highest is Bhagavan alone. So for example, if you fulfill any incidental goal, what is incidental goal? Any goal other than Bhagavan, you'll get peace of mind, right? Yeah, sometimes. But, that's why we're doing it. We hope to get an award. It's not guaranteed, but, it can happen. There's a high chance. If you're smart, it's very high. So I've performed an incidental goal, and I've gotten peace of mind. For example, I get married because my parents are pushing me to get married. And I finally do. And now I'm saying, I'm married. Peace, right? Well, not for long, right? Okay, but at least for a short while, right? Okay, how about this? How about the wedding day, right? That's pretty exciting.
Very exciting.
Yeah, right? It's very exciting. But right after the wedding, what's going to happen? Sooner or later, a new story will start, a new thread. And that story is going to arise out of what? The world. Unexpected, uncalled for, uninvited. It's going to come whether I like it or not. It's whether I don't instigate it, it's going to be instigated by whom? The other. So either I call it up or she calls it up or vice versa. So this logic simply shows what? That the journey of incidental goals never ends. The moment I want the incidental goal to end, I will get a short break. When I come back, something is going to arise and I need to attend to that new storyline, which has another turn of events, more people to attend to, more things to address, and so on. This never ends. So now just imagine subordinating to this incidental goal all your life. Is the person ever going to get a break from life? No, because life demands your attention. That's how life is. That's why you're alive, because you need to attend to things. So if I subordinate and if I submit myself to incidental goals, I have actually made an error. Why are you born? You're born to what? Realize the nature of who you are. And I've been given that opportunity, but I decided to attend to worldly pursuits one after the other, and I did not attend to the primary goal. Therefore, I made an error by what? Not looking into what needs to be done, what needs to be attended to.
Is this more of a subtle thing, Andre? Like, do Vedantas have a culture of removing themselves from society, like monks would take robes in a Buddhist tradition or other swamis? So there is a culture of that, actually going in hermitage and things like that?
There is a good question. There is, however, that depends on your personality. Not many of us want that. And even if you think about moving away, for example, from here to the busy place, then you're taking all of these memories and you're carrying it into the Himalayas or into the very peaceful place. So I have removed myself physically, but mentally I'm still in my old house, in my old friends, in my old life. And even if you think about it, if you were suitable for that personality, you will not be born in Australia or a place that is not conducive for that. You would have been born in a rather jnani-like family. We talked about this chapter 6, yoga brashtaha, born in a family that's suitable for this kind of lifestyle. Yeah. So one more thing to understand, it doesn't matter whether you go away or not. It makes no difference. Because Vedanta is already giving you the knowledge which for example, I remember someone saying to me, it was Swami Dayananda, the 3-year course that you do for Vedanta is equivalent to a 9-year course that a sadhu would do in the mountains by himself. So it shortcuts the process. Why? Because you're led. You're guided step by step. Whereas a sadhu has to attend and battle with his own inner demons, if you want to call it that. And it's very hard without a teacher. So it shortcuts your journey.
But surely once you've actually realised your awareness or your identity with your awareness, won't you be utilising and choosing your incidental goals as a mechanism of supporting and maintaining that awareness, that relationship with your awareness?
The relationship with awareness doesn't have to be maintained, number one. It will be established permanently. Afterwards, then you just return to your duties. Right? It's simple as that. Because if I don't return to, what is the implication of that? That means there's still a person trying to hold on that I am awareness. And I'm too busy holding on that I'm awareness, therefore I don't have time to attend to my duties.
No, what I was meaning by that is that the incidental goals shouldn't be in conflict necessarily with awareness.
It can't be.
But as you're making those, it's karma yoga essentially, because as you're making dharmic choices for your incidental goals, it becomes a mechanism of support for your karma and for your dharma to maintain is probably the wrong word, but to exist in awareness.
Okay, karma yoga would just be a stepping stone to purify the mind and to permanently recognize that I'm awareness and I cannot do anything about it to not know it anymore. So this means I could be working in a sewer and all day smelling and the knowledge doesn't go away. So in other words, once it's done, it's done. There's no forgetting. Self-knowledge is the only knowledge which you cannot forget or need to maintain. Every other knowledge, like relative knowledge, has to be maintained. Stop singing, stop drawing, stop programming, stop doing what you know for 1 year and then get back into it and tell me if you're still as precise and acute as you were at your peak. No way. Why? Because the brain cells have died, the memory has gotten away, right? And I've forgotten. The only knowledge which you cannot forget is self-knowledge. That's why it's called the glory, the best knowledge, the king of knowledge, which will be in, it will come up. We'll talk about the glory of self-knowledge, the best knowledge there is. Uttamam, the best. Another example, you have children, and then you think, when my children are done, then I'll have time for this. But then what happens? You get grandchildren. So in other words, the incidental goals never go away. We can already conclude that based on our observation alone.
But can you be having children or whatever, having husband, cooking or doing whatever work you're doing, even in your field of work? You're doing it if you put your mind in the form of like Krishna or what, one of the deities in Asia, Krishna, and you're doing the work like you're serving them,
Yeah.
then you're actually not going to be what do you call it?
Yeah, you're not gonna-
hated or anything in your mind.
That's right. You're gonna constantly.
It's
It's
like cooking for,
Yeah, absolutely. That's
you
a-
cook the best you can. I mean, not obviously,
yeah.
the best meal in the world, but you cook the best you can.
Yeah, the intention is there.
Yeah.
And this reminds me. Why do we say Hari Om to each other? What does Hari Om mean? Hari Om. Okay. When we say, and I'm going to tie this to what you just said. When we say Hari in Sanskrit means form. What kind of form? Any form. If I say Hari Vastram, that means the form of the shirt, for example. And Om is the highest, when you say Om, like on the wall, is the highest symbol representing the truth, Bhagavan, the absolute highest of the highest, Brahman itself. So when I say Hari Om, I'm saying what? I see you, the form, in a form of what? Om. And what is Om? The ultimate truth. In other words, my relation to you changes. So when I say Hari Om, I see God in you, and you reply back, Hari Om, I also see God in you. In the same way what Rani is saying, when she cooks the food and she thinks of her husband, or likewise, then it is as good as saying or affirming, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, right? Towards whom? Towards her husband. So in other words, she's doing this because everything is Om, everything is Bhagavan. Okay? So question, when does this journey truly end? Careful, this is a trick question. When does this journey truly end?
Samsara.
Self-realization.
Yeah, good. Okay, number one, it only ends when one discovers their purnatvam. I said the word purnatvam before, their fullness. Owning to, understanding that the nature of the self is the total, which I'm not apart from. Only when one gains moksha, then this journey is over. Now, the second answer is going to contradict the first. I said the question, when is this journey going to end?
Never.
Never. Oh, I love your thinking. Okay, why never? There's a reason behind this, and it's a much deeper reason.
Energy never dies.
Okay. To say this journey is going to end is to give that which doesn't exist reality. Remember the snake and rope example. Owning to my own false notions, I see a snake on top of the rope being the substratum. Now, if I want to kill, that is to end the snake, whose problem is that? My alone. Not yours, because you're not seeing a snake, I'm seeing a snake. In other words, to say this journey is going to end is to give the snake, that is the false reality, mithya reality, and then try to what? End it. But it actually doesn't exist. It's there because of what? My own false notions. Therefore, when is this going to end? Only when I end the notion that makes me want to end things. Isn't that how the mind is? It wants to end things. Only when I end that notion that I need to end things, that's when it ends. Because there's nothing to end. Everything's already perfect as it is. There is no snake. That's only my problem. That's not your problem. There is only what? There's only the total reality, which I don't control. And the total reality is what? Or beautifully organized by none other than Prakruti and Prakruti working together, creating this universe as it is right now. So for me to say I want to end that is equivalent to saying I want to end Ishwara's creation. See the arrogance there? Or the ignorance? Everything's already perfect right now as it is. If I say it's not perfect, whose problem is that? My problem. Why? Because I'm seeing the snake on the rope. And what does a snake engage or enact or induce? A genuine feeling of fear. And how do we walk around in this world? Some of us? Fearful. We want this, I want that, I need to hold on. Therefore, as long as I want to hold on or I'm fearful, I'm seeing or I'm continuing to see that which is not on that which is. That's what Maya means. Maya means translated that which is not. So in other words, I'm seeing Maya, that which is not, on top of that which is equals what? The substratum, the absolute substratum. So that means I have to remove the problem in order to accept that there is nothing to end here. That is my problem. That's not your problem.
How does that work with like trying to attain moksha? Like, are you saying the spiritual seeking is something to drop? Is that what you're saying, or?
We can answer that in two ways also. Number one, moksha just simply means removing the false notion that there is a snake. Now I said two reasons. The second reason is that there is no snake in the first place. So there's actually nothing that I can do because the snake doesn't exist. But only to my false notion it does exist. So it doesn't exist, but it does exist. In other words, moksha has two answers. Moksha is to remove the false notions, which what? Removes that which doesn't exist in the first place.
So when you're in samadhi, isn't it the end?
Remember what Shankara said, mananam is 100 times better than shravanam, nididhyasanam is 100 times better than mananam, and nirvikalpa samadhi is infinitely times more powerful than nididhyasanam. In other words, nirvikalpa samadhi also has two answers. Number one, in the yoga world, nirvikalpa samadhi simply means attaining that state where with the merger, there's a total merger. The experiencer experienced, and there's only what? Experiencing of the self as the self. That is what? Attained where? In yoga, during meditation. The other definition for nirvikalpa samadhi in Vedanta is you, the self. You are nirvikalpa samadhi. Because you're always, right, you're always only experiencing what? Yourself. Yeah, you are samadhi. If you can own up to your nirvikalpa samadhi, that is the end. But I put that because there is nothing to own up to in the first place. Okay, yogam yunjan. Practicing yoga. So this statement is going to say, okay, so how do we accomplish this Bhagavan? Yogam yunjan, which means by practicing relevant sadhana. Here, sadhana equals yoga, because by the context, you see. Now, what kind of yoga / sadhana? Whatever is valid for you. Martin included the word karma. I will now bring that up. Like karma yoga, upasana yoga. Another yoga, please. Huh? Hatha yoga. Shravanam, that's also a yoga. Okay, that's listening. So whatever yoga is valid, that's the yoga I need to practice to what? Attain the number one goal which Krishna is saying, which is what? Attain Bhagavan. Now, how do you know which yoga? You will know. We taught you what yoga is. We taught you what karma yoga is, what upasana yoga is, what shravanam is. Whichever one you feel attracted to, that is your yoga. So this means that if there's 5 yogas and I go, oh, I need to attend to all of them, that's a mistake. You need to look which one do you most resonate with. That's the one you attend. Why do you practice yoga? To turn your mind to what? To Bhagavan. That implies what? Individual effort. Who's turning the mind? I am. No one's turning the mind for me. I'm doing that. So in other words, Bhagavan is indirectly reconfirming the power or the existence of the freedom to will, the freedom to say, I want to. Individual effort. In other words, don't say now Bhagavan is going to take care of everything. Suppose, for example, you're hungry and I don't want to eat. So for example now, what happens is somebody in the form of Bhagavan, okay, Bhagavan in the form of a person, that's a better way to say, comes over and opens up my mouth. And this person also puts food in my mouth. And this person also now starts chewing for me, hum, 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 like that. Okay, and even grinded up the food, so it's very easy. Now, what's the last step that person cannot do? The only thing that person cannot do is swallow. As soon as I swallow, what happens then? Do I have to do anything? Do I have to do anything to the trachea to squeeze the muscles? As soon as I apply one single effort, then Bhagavan continues working for me. In other words, Bhagavan was taking care of me all the time, and I just needed to do one little step, the most important, because swallowing ironically is the most important. And as soon as I do that, Bhagavan continues taking care of everything. Swallowing the food, releasing the enzymes, distributing it to whatever parts need some tissue and restoration and so on. So in other words, Bhagavan is confirming here, I am, behind you, I've got your back. However, do not forget that you need to apply your own efforts Not a lot, but you need to apply where? In those crucial moments that make the biggest difference.
Oh, that was very well said, beautifully.
Okay.
That's sort of like sunk in.
Okay, so yogam yunjan means the importance of individual effort. That's what it's saying. Because it says sadhana equals self-effort. However, along with individual effort, it doesn't stop there. There is another statement, madashrayaha, grace. In other words, along with your individual efforts, take the grace of Bhagavan, which means what? Do not be overconfident. Do not be arrogant. Never challenge God. In other words, what does this mean? Take refuge in Ishvara. Now, how do we take refuge in Ishvara? That's an actual question. What does it mean to take refuge in Ishvara? Example. Suppose a train is going up a mountain. It's a very steep hill, right? It's a heavy train. How is the only way for that train to go up? How is it possible for that train to go up? It needs two engines. One at the front to pull the train, and it needs a backup behind to push the train. Okay, because it's going up the hill, right? It's very hard for a train. So it needs two engines, two strong engines. One on the front, one behind. And they need to work together. Spirituality is exactly like this. It is kind of like going uphill. What do I mean by this? For example, suppose that it's not easy, right? Spirituality, because the farther we go up the mountain, the less company. Because not everyone wants to go up the mountain. It's very easy to stay at the bottom. We're all got company, we got play, we got friends. The more you go up the mountain, the less people you will find. In other words, the more I go up, the more it seems like I'm getting lonely. Right? The more like, my God, no one's in my journey. No one's coming along with me. I'm losing all my friends. Why? Because to go up the mountain is not easy. Only few have the courage to do so. And those who do have to be strong, because the more I go, the more I see, wow, if I turn back, look at all that company. I could be down there right now, enjoying the world, being with them. But no, I'm here by myself, as though nobody even knows about me. I could get killed and nobody even knows. So it's not easy. Just another example. See, when a family situation comes, there's another issue. Oh, it's not an issue, it's just an occurrence. You know that you're improving because you're doing the best you can. You're going out the mountain. But your family doesn't think so. You're like, I know I'm improving. I believe I'm improving. And then you show up at your wife or your kids or someone that you're close to, but they don't think so. They're still treating you like the same old person that they knew for the rest of their life. This alone can be very discouraging because they mean something to me and their opinion matters. Their opinion hurts. If they say something good, I feel like fantastic. But if they still treat me like a little kid or the same old person, that's very discouraging. So what does this mean? I need backup support. I said it's not easy. So if I try to own this by myself, this spiritual journey, and I say I can do this by myself while I've got family and I'm going up the mountain and I see I've got less friends, it's very hard. This is what madashrayaha means. I need the grace of God to help me go up the mountain fully. I need two engines. If I don't have the two engines, then it seems like I'm moving 1 millimeter at a time. Conclusion, two engines in order to go uphill. The first engine we talked about in chapter 6, Purusha Prayatanam, in other words, individual effort, equivalent to the word in this verse 1, Madashrayaha, and that means what? Then someone needs to be on the front pulling. And the second engine is Ishvara Anugraha. In other words, I need the grace of Ishvara to hold me, to help me in this hard journey. And what is Ishvara doing? Pushing. Now, I know some person is going to say, it could be the other way around, right? Ishvara could be doing the pushing or the pulling, and you could be the pushing. For example, if you do in childbirth, who's doing the pushing? The mother. And who's doing the pulling? the other. So whichever way you look at it, it doesn't really matter. But there's always a two-way process involved, you see? So this means to go through this journey, I need to open my heart to Ishvara's grace in order to help me, to pull me through these hard times as I keep going up. So therefore, madashrayaha, which means to go about your life with two engines running, which is called bhakti or devotion. So what is bhakti or devotion in practice? Never forgetting that I need Ishvara's grace at any one moment to pull through this. Let's summarize this. The summary of 3 conditions required for total Ishvara Jnanam. The first one was keep God as the number one destination in all your actions. It's always prevalent, available. I'm doing this for none other than God Himself. In other words, this really just means to maintain your goal that what I'm attaining is peace of mind, independence, freedom, fulfillment, security, limitless ananda. Because to say keep God as your number one goal is to say all of these things, because God is infinite. Number 2 was self-effort, purusha prayatanam. And number 3 was Ishvara's grace, Ishvara anugraha. Yatha jnasasi tachrunu, the last 3 words. This is the topic, Arjuna. Listen thus carefully, because I will reveal my nature of Bhagavan completely, rationally, logically, if you would listen properly. Verse 2. Jnanam te hamsa vijnanam idam vakshyam yasheshataha yajnatva neha bhuyo nyad jnatavyamavashishyate. Okay, the first, we'll just read the first verse. With a mind committed to me, by taking to yoga, to the sadhana, having surrendered to me, please listen in the way which you will know me totally, without any doubt. Okay, that was verse 1. Now we're on to verse 2. A little bit more technical. So in the first verse, Krishna said, I will reveal to you my nature, which has 2 components. The first is the lower nature, apara prakruti. The second is the higher nature, para prakriti. In other words, nirguna swarupam and saguna swarupam. We are clear on that. Yeah? Super. In verse 2, Krishna is now going to compare or give us a technical word. He's going to say, Saguna swarupam equals jnanam. Okay, what does jnana mean? Intellectual knowledge. Paroksha jnanam equals saguna swarupam. Okay, so saguna swarupam equals jnanam equals intellectual knowledge equals paroksha equals information. What kind of information? Whatever information is known to you. Textbook information. Now let's apply this to Vedanta. What does it mean to say through Jnanam the absolute truth? It means like this, or just a statement. Brahman is the final reality of all names and forms. That's called Jnanam. So what did I just say? I just made an intellectual statement about a fact. I have not understood it, I just said an information. That's called Jnanam. I have not ascertained it, I just said it. So at this stage, there's a difference between the devotee and Ishvara. It's still out there. I'm still making statements about Ishvara. Now the second is nirguna swarupam equals vijnanam. So nirguna equals vijnanam equals direct knowledge. That means knowledge which I have fully ascertained and cannot distinguish from myself. I am that. The other name for this is Aparoksha Jnanam. This is unverbalized knowledge because it's always running in the background without having to be attended to. This is what it means to say Aham Brahman Asmi. However, warning, this statement, because this is a Mahavakya that I just said, you never say Aham Brahman Asmi. The moment you say it, you're not Brahman. All it's referring to is that one who has fully ascertained this knowledge what is running through their mind, which is actually not running, it's fully ascertained, is the statement. So it's used to describe the condition of a jnani. The jnani does not say, I am Brahman. So this statement, the fourth Mahavakya in the final, is only referring to that one who is fully realized, and it's not referring to that one who is realized saying, Aham Brahmanasmi. Okay, clear? So at this stage, the knowledge and the self are inseparable, nirguna, which is vijnanam. Also at this stage, when the devotee finally realizes that he or she is not apart from Ishvara, there is an utter surprise. It's a genuine surprise, like, wow. All this time I thought I was separate from what I was seeking, but now I've honestly understood that I'm not separate. So it can be a genuine surprise. You know, that quote moment, this is amazing. I cannot be, I'm never apart from anything. So it can be that genuine sort of short kind of surprise. Just don't take it seriously, because what happens is most then fall into that feeling and then wish to expand that feeling permanently. And when it dies, what do I say about feeling? Whatever starts dies. So do not fall for the feeling. Simply recognize that the knowledge has been ascertained. Stick with that. Ignore the feeling. Throw it into the dustbin, because it's going to go away. So we're on stage of what? Nirguna Swarupam, which is called vijnana, which is direct assimilated knowledge. So I want to give an example of this stage. When you have a wave and an ocean, then at a level of name and form, you call one what? A wave, and the other the ocean. Because the ocean is called the ocean, the wave is called the wave. So at the level of name and form, there is a separation. Wave, ocean, that's all there is. It stops there. And also, not only the name is different, but also the form is different, because the form of the wave is what? It's a wavy wave. It's a small wavy wave. But the ocean, wow, that's vast, huge. So even the form of the wave and the form of the ocean are totally different also. When I identify at a level of name and form, actually you cannot really identify form of the ocean. Do you know why? Because you can only say form to what? To that which has a dimension to it. But you cannot see the ending of the ocean, can you? So all I really just said is I still identify the ocean at the level of name, but to identify it at the level of form is actually incorrect. Because the ocean exceeds my scope of where does this end. Now, at the level of name and form, there is certainly a separation. But when I understand that the essential nature of both the ocean and the wave is essentially just water, H2O, Brahman, Satchidananda, then, despite the apparent differences between the ocean and the small wave, it is essentially what? One and the same. So that knowledge, that's called vijnanam. That realization is called vijnanam. Like, wow, I'm not apart from the total. And when it's so solid, that's vijnanam. Jnanam nishta, firmly established. So jnanam equals dvaitam, dualistic knowledge, which means, in summary, God and I are different. The wave is apart from the ocean. Vijnanam equals advaitam. The essential nature of the apparent wave and the apparent ocean, which I feel like giving a name and label to, but the essential nature is one and the same. That means what? There is no two anymore. At the level of name and form, dvaitam. At the level of the essential one nature, pervading both, advaitam. Well, we can pose a question for Krishna and say, how will I give you this knowledge? The word is asheshataha, thoroughly, completely, without any doubt. I will give you knowledge that after knowing this knowledge, there is nothing else to know. That's the benefit of this knowledge. And this is also going to be in the last statement, yajna twaneha bhuyo nyad tavyamavashishyate. In other words, what is the benefit of this knowledge? The answer is, having gained this knowledge, after having gained it, there is nothing else to gain. Having gained this knowledge, Having known this knowledge, there is nothing else to know. In other words, all intellectual questions go away. All fundamental questions about existence, about who I am not, what's the purpose, any question posed is completely erased. It all goes away. There's no more need for questions. Total satisfaction. Samsara ends. There's 3 levels of samsara. The first level of samsara, okay, why am I saying this? Because I just said, what's the benefit of this knowledge? Freedom from samsara. So then I pose the question. There are 3 levels to samsara. Why did I pose that question? Because to say I'm free from samsara is to say I'm free from these 3 levels. So what are the 3 levels? The first one is the grossest level of samsara. This person is identified with their physical body. They're always talking about age, health, their wellness. Always asking, hey, how's your health? Are you well? And always thinking about death, anything physical. This is basically the majority of your entire health and wellness industry. Very big, $1 trillion industry. All about making you feel really healthy. So this is the samsara at the grossest level. Why did I just say grossest level? Good. Go back to the panchakosha. Remember the most inner principle is what? Atman, the self. And the more we go outside, the last layer is Annamaya kosha, the grossest. So the further I go away from that which is the subtlest, means what? I am going more gross, more gross, more gross, more gross, more gross. And what is the most gross? That which is physical. And what is the most physical? The Annamaya kosha, your physical body. Therefore, to be identified with the physical body, therefore age, wellness, looks, I need abs, I need to be slim, I need to be fit. All of that implies what? Farthest away from the ultimate truth, which is the subtlest of the subtlest. So you can see how our own actions, our own behaviors actually give away at what level we're still operating. So that's the first level. The second level of samsara is a little bit more, this is a more advanced samsari, right? They say, I'm well. Everything's fine. My health is okay. Everything's good. However, I feel emotional deprivation. I experience emotional deprivation when something does not fill my needs. That's when I start to get worried. That's when I start to ask from the environment something to fill my emotional needs. So they will say, for example, I'm very good. My children take care of me, but you know what? My children take care of me, but you know what? My children, what do you think they're going to say? My children, my children don't spend enough quality time with me. That's a emotional samsari talking. They don't even ask whether I'm alive or dead anymore. They just take care of me, right? But they're not like interested. They just like, okay, here's your tea. But they don't ask me. They don't spend like connection. There's no connection with me, right? That's the word of an emotional person: connection, intimacy. Of course, intimacy on the level of the emotional. Even though they're physically present, I still don't feel connected to them. That's a samsari of an emotional nature. So what kind of needs are an example of an emotional samsari? I want compassion. I desire a sense of closeness. That's another word, right? I want companionship with someone. They just want to talk to anyone. Doesn't matter if the topic makes sense or not. I just need emotional connection. If you want to talk about garbage, I'm good enough with that. At least we're talking about garbage. At least we're emotionally connecting. That is satisfying my emotional needs of my samsara. So as long as the person is still depending on external factors for emotional satisfaction, I am a samsari. Last level. This is a higher level of samsari. Of course, we're getting from physical, emotional. What's next? Intellectual. These are slightly higher because it's more subtle now. They're not that concerned about the physical or the emotional. However, he or she is intellectual. These kinds of people are like scientists, engineers, mathematicians, architects, computer science included, NASA propulsion, AI, anything that has to do with a lot of calculation, a lot of analysis, a lot of data, a lot of research. Philosophers, they like to know everything about everything. They gotta know. They love books. All of this, intellectual samsara. They want to know questions like, how did all this come? Who was the first person who came on earth? What happens after death? How was this world created? Who's the creator of this world? Quantum physicists. This is your intellectual samsari. They love knowledge. They love information. Okay, for example, this person does not have time to talk to his wife. The wife is then going to say, okay, why? Because he does not feel the need. Because feel belongs to the second samsari. Samsari number 2. This one is not in the realm of the feel. This one's in the realm of quantification. I need to quantify things. I need to give it, some intellectual statistics. So I don't want to talk to my wife, not because I don't love her, but just because I don't feel like it. So, for example, the emotional samsari wifey says, cries, right? And she says, ting, ting, the tears start falling. Don't you see my tears? You just don't spend enough quality time with me. Now, the intellectual chemistry research husband replies, I know what they are. They're called tears. They're a mixture. they're a mixture of water and salt. If it goes into your mouth, it's salty. Have you tried? Try it next time. Okay? So in other words, the intellectually identified samsarish husband is unable to resonate or connect with the emotionally deprived samsarish wife. Therefore, the husband sees what? Chemical components in the tears that he wants to put underneath the petri dish and analyze, instead of emotional factors which need to be attended to because the wife is experiencing an emotional deprivation. So you can see how these conflicts get built. They're both samsari, remember? One's not worse than the other and vice versa. They're neither. They just are still operating at a samsarish level, and it causes conflict.
Or the husband could see the tears as a problem to be solved.
Yeah.
Therefore, buy a bunch of flowers,
Yeah.
fix the problem.
Just got a quick question. So, what we're discussing sort of on the level of these samsaras, it seems like on the level of like an interpersonal level, like with that communication between the husband and wife. But with these, are we talking about like the sense of fulfillment in each of these, like the physical, the emotional, and the intellect, if it's an illusion?
Yeah.
Because us here sitting now would be fulfilling the intellectual by studying the Vedas. Hatha yoga would be the body. Asanga would be an emotional resonance with people on a spiritual path.
Yeah.
But is it like seeking that fulfillment in something externally would be the main category of a samsara in these?
Okay. See, if I don't seek, I will never arrive to the final. So we're not now saying, just because I identify with this level, I'm in samsara. No, samsara is the very cause that gets you out of samsara. If it's used right, of course. So it's not to be used now as a barometer and I've got such a long way to go. No. We all have needs. It's okay. It doesn't matter. Right? To be now hard on myself and to stop myself from operating at these 3 levels, it's not fair, because there's a person that generally wants to express their needs. When those needs subside, it will subside. That is not up to me when it subsides. I just need to keep my vision, as Krishna said, on Bhagavan, and that alone will solve the problem of moving from the physical to the emotional, finally to the intellectual, which is the highest level of samsara, and then even dropping the intellectual need of wanting to know stuff, wanting to be informed constantly. So even that gets dropped.
Could you say that samsara is the platform of which to practice karma yoga?
Samsara is referring to the word of someone who's caught up in their own entanglements. there is no samsara on an absolute standpoint. There is just isness of reality called vyavaharika. Samsara just means when I have desires and I suddenly give more value to an object, and that object now needs to be in my life, which is what? Either physical samsara, emotional samsara, or intellectual samsara. In other words, I took that book, which is value neutral, and I made of it something which it is not. So that means it is. At this point, it's not samsara. But when I give it value and now I want to own it because it gives me an emotional fulfillment, an intellectual fulfillment, or a physical fulfillment, then it becomes samsara. So the samsara only refers to the level of the personal person who is making something which it is not. So Vedanta solves all these three levels at the physical, emotional, and the intellectual. It neutralizes them to a balanced, harmonious level. Because why? It answers the fundamental questions about three categories. What does Vedanta answer? Questions about what do we all want to know in life? There's only three categories. The first one is questions about,
Who am I?
in other words, jiva. Question about me. What is my purpose here? Why was I born? What am I doing here? Where am I going? Everyone wants to know that. The second is, how was this world created? Who created this world? How does this world operate? What are the laws holding everything together? Like, how does this all work? In other words, jagat, the world, the physical world that we experience. And the last, none other than, what created, what is the ultimate cause? Who is God? What is God? Ishvara. So in other words, Vedanta solves all these three questions, Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. And when I solve these three questions, what happens? I reduce the hold of those three samsaras. Why? Because as long as these three questions remain unresolved, the three samsaras continue grabbing me. The jaws of the crocodile keep pulling me back into the world. So to get out of samsara equals answer the questions pertaining to Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. Therefore, Arjuna, listen. That's the last statement. So now verse 7.3. Manushyanam sahasreshu kashchid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kashchin mam veti tattvataha. Okay, we'll just read verse 2. I will teach you without any omission this knowledge, along with immediate knowledge, that is vijnanam, knowing which there remains nothing else to be known. Verse 3, Krishna is going to now speak about the rarity of Ishvara Jnanam. He's going to mention how rare it actually is to be even interested in this knowledge. So it's going to give you a context how rare moksha actually is. First of all, let's ask, why is Ishvara Jnanam? What is Ishvara Jnanam? Knowledge of the total. Okay? Why is it rare? Why do few people gain Ishvara Jnanam? Very simple answer. Go back to the four Purusharthas. First one, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Most people are only interested in the first three. I want security, wealth, Artha. I want fulfillment. I want desire. I want to have my desires satisfied, Kama. And I want virtue. This is where it stops for most people. And also, even if you tell moksha to someone, you know what happens? It gets misinterpreted according to their idea in reference to what? Kama, Artha, Dharma. In other words, if I tell you about moksha, what does a person do? Yeah, sure. Moksha is being really, really wise, blissful. In other words, all sorts of wrong ideas get established. Why? Because the one who is listening has not got a teacher. This is where the teacher comes in. You tell me some ideas of what moksha means in this world.
End of suffering.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But now to say that it depends, what is the person referring to when they say end of suffering, right? They need to be guided through that process. Because they're what? Referring to what? Body, mind, intellect suffering. But that suffering never ends. Right? There's always, because what suddenly after realization, you put a match here and there's no pain? Of course there's pain. But you need to explain this to them, right? So they think suddenly I'm totally free from the whole, sense of suffering. That means nothing bothers me anymore. That's not true. It bothers the body, but it doesn't bother the self.
Is that always reveling in God? All the time the mind is in God? Doing all actions?
Yeah, the mind is reflecting, due only to its purity, a pure reflection of the self, which is equivalent to saying it is reveling in God. Yeah, in the self. Few truly desire the true definition of moksha. Not a personal definition, but I'm talking about a real definition of moksha. But even fewer know that what's required for moksha is what? Ishvara Jnanam. You have to be told, I need knowledge of the total. And what is chapter 7 to 12? What is Upanishads? What is Vedanta? Ishvara Jnanam. So, yes, there are people who want moksha. There are a few of them, but very few know that for moksha you need what? Ishvara Jnanam. Now, even fewer people know the proper means to Ishvara Jnanam, which is what? This is answered in chapter 4, verse 34, and it says, Guru Shastra Upadesha Shravanam. In other words, the proper means to liberation is what? I need Shravanam, which means what? Exposing my mind to the Shastra through the means of what? The Guru. Guru, Shastra, Upadesha, Shravanam. Listening to the Shastra, being guided by the Guru, by the Acharya. Very few people know this. And because they don't know this, they don't arrive to the proper means of knowledge, and therefore they don't gain Ishvara Jnanam. Therefore what? Moksha never happens. And even those who do come to Guru disinterested walk out very quickly. You know why? This is not what I expected. I thought this is going to be a lot more novel, a lot more interesting. I thought I was going to experience something. I don't like the environment or whatever. Walk out. Threw away the whole life. What to do? So let's do a hypothetical estimate, for example. Out of 7 billion people, we'll just say 6.5 billion are not interested in moksha. They're interested in what? Dharma, artha, kama. So now we have 500 million people left. Out of these 500 million people, being very generous, 70% don't know that what is required is what? Ishvara Jnanam. Out of the 30% who do know that Ishvara Jnanam is required, do not know that the proper means to Ishvara Jnanam is Guru, Shastra, Upadesha, Shravanam. So this means the leftovers who are left, owing to their punya, they do take interest in the Shastra. But what's the problem? Unqualified, at least 90% out of those are unqualified to understand what is being said through the Shastra. In other words, a lack of vairagyam and viveka, lack of dispassion and lack of discrimination. And what's left is hardly anyone's left at the end of the day, only to these factors.
Within India, does the Vedanta take up a large percentage of the spiritual traditions that people follow? 0.5%.
0.5%, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah, upon average. I've even heard this question from James, who's been in there for 40 years, and he knows the marketplace very well. Yeah, very small. India is also 99% dualistic. Yeah, all a Saguna Swarupam. Rituals, you know. It's very good, yeah. It's because it's all, remember what I said earlier on? It all helps. We travel from Saguna to what? Nirguna. So it all helps. We're not saying Saguna is lower or, no. There's a natural journey there. Manushyanam sahasreshu. Amongst the millions who strive or who want this, only rare go in the right direction. What's the right direction? Guru, Shastra, Upadesha, Shravanam. That means being guided by the Acharya of what the Shastras are saying. And those few who are left, what do they strive for? Siddhaye. What does Siddhaye mean? Absolute freedom, independence, unparalleled, unsurpassed happiness. I'm not talking about worldly happiness. I'm talking about happiness owing to the freedom of that I'm not this limited entity. So those few are seeking what? freedom from incompleteness, freedom from insecurity. In other words, those few are seeking security, total infinite security. What is infinite security? Bhagavan. Those few are seeking Bhagavan. Because according to the Shastra, inner or insecurity is a false notion. There is no such thing as an insecure person or insecurity. Insecurity only comes and is owned to what? My false notion that I am not complete. If I don't think I'm complete, that means what? How do you translate that? I'm incomplete. I'm partial. Is partial infinite? No. Partial is finite. So whatever is partial is going to experience what? Insecurity. And why is it going to experience insecurity? Because the only proper security is that which has no ending, has no limitation. But because I have not ascertained that knowledge, due to what? Not having full Ishvara Jnanam, I do not experience full security. Therefore, what do these few strive for? Absolute security, total freedom from incompleteness and lack of. Freedom from that, freedom from limitation. And this concludes verse 3. So next week we begin the teaching. Okay, this was just sales pitch mode. This is just like, what's coming and what we're going to go through and what to expect. Okay, so next week we go straight into verse 4 and we talk about elements, we talk about higher and the lower nature of God and what's the hierarchy, if you were to put in hierarchy. There's no actual hierarchy to creation, but if you were to put one, what would it look like? And I'll show you a chart and all that. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Anything on your mind?
Yeah. Just when you were talking about there's two types of knowledge, or vijnanam and jnanam, but there's still types of knowledge that are understood by the mind. There's still. Do you say that vijnanam is not intellectual?
Correct. Okay, simple. Jnanam. So your question is about difference between Jnanam and Vijnanam. Very simple context. You don't know how to drive a car, so I give you a car driving book. You're learning how to drive. That's all called Jnanam, because you're taking it in. You put the book away. You get onto the road. After 3 months, you become automatic with the knowledge that I've read. Now it's all automatic. I'm not thinking about road rules. I'm not trying to create formulas in my head. Who goes first? Who takes the right? Who takes priority? I'm not. It's just automatic. So jnanam is.
So it's just firm knowledge.
Jnanam is just learning intellectually, hearing, shravanam.
Right.
Vijnanam is it's just natural. It's like, what's the big deal here? Well, I know this. I'm getting out of here.
Innate knowledge.
Right, innate knowledge. Yeah, it's just normal. It's just like driving a car. Right. You're not thinking about, I'm a good car driver. You're just doing it. Now, one good point you brought that up. In class, I will always say jnanam. You notice that? If I do not say vijnanam, then the jnanam refers to vijnanam. Okay? So when I say jnanam, like I have jnanam, right? I have, or you have jnanam, it means you have knowledge. What do I just mean when I say that? You have ascertained knowledge. I will tell you if I'm trying to use two different words, okay? So you will know. But when we bring two words together, then there is a difference. Because in Vedanta, we will always use the word jnanam, and that will always refer to final knowledge, final ascertained knowledge.
Can I just break that down a little bit? You use the example of driving a car, and you read a book, and then you go and drive the car. But usually if you read a book and go and drive the car, you're not going to be that good. But when you have an instructor teaching you, so the missing out point is a guru.
Yeah.
You get better at driving. I'm sorry, I'm just taking a little bit more into
super
the depth of it. Because by reading a book, I could never drive a car because
Yeah,
I'm reading
no
a book.
way.
It's a story
No way.
telling me what to do. But then when I go there, I'll be struggling with all the stuff. So with an instructor, it's easy to drive the car by practicing and then getting to a test and all. Yeah.
She just
So the guru is there.
gave
Without
a
the guru.
perfect example of chapter 4, verse 34. Guru Shastra, Guru what? The instructor, Shastra is what? The driving book, Upadesha Shravanam. I'm listening to the instructor teaching me how to drive a car. Which is the only proper way
Way to go.
for what? Total safety on the road. Imagine being on the road with half the safety. Not a good experience. It's not complete. So the only way to be an inspiring driver and keep others also safe is what? Through total assimilation of the knowledge. How? Through the instructor.
Just got a quick question on, a quick one, but on free will.
Yeah.
I've heard it explained, different teachers.
Of course.
And I heard it explained again on a satsang that I watched the other day about free will, in the sense that all decisions or thoughts are arising from awareness.
Yeah.
So there's no sense of doership
Yeah.
around that. I'm still a bit confused
Simple.
with that.
Yeah, there's two aspects to this. You need to know about the Satya and Mithya reality. Remember the chart? Awareness. Okay,
Yeah,
awareness.
yes, I
Satya
remember that.
and Mithya is everything in awareness.
Yeah.
In other words, Mithya just simply means three gunas in operation. So from this personal standpoint, from a person, free will, absolute. But who you are, from the standpoint of the real you, Atman, forget about free will. Just another thought known to me. So you need to... so it's just a concept. Free will, right? Okay, what? It's just a four-letter word, whatever it is. So this means we have to know from what reality are we talking. From the person, the BMI level, exercise your free will gladly. Let's not philosophize about it. But from who you actually are, there's no free will. Because you're the awareness. You're aware of whatever action is going on.
The free will leads you into Dharma Yoga, which exercises your Karma Yoga, which is part of that whole process.
Yes, exactly. And that's the only way you move up, you make anything out of your life. It's just by saying, I'm going to do it. Just like with the example, Bhagavan. You can do everything, but I have to swallow just one little step, and then everything else gets taken care of.
Can I just ask about this prayer that you have here? Isn't this prayer that we just said, or this invocation that you just said, is it very samsaric?
Which one, the last one or the first one?
The last one.
Yeah.
Because we are asking for good things. We are asking to be free from illness.
Yeah.
But it's a very samsaric.
Yeah, very easy. So for example, suppose that I was extremely sick. Could I come to class and transform my life? What do we all want? To be happy. Suppose I hurt my leg and I break my leg. Can I actually go to a class, or will I go to a hospital? Will I learn how to be happy in a hospital? Maybe. In other words, I need to be free. I need to be strong in order to make it in the first place.
So this is a prayer to create optimal conditions for you to...
Excellent. Optimum conditions, yeah. So it's just down to earth. Let's not, something. I know you can just discard everything samsara, but sometimes we just need to bring it back down to earth and know, I need some help, man. Human being, weak, can't make it. I need some help. And from that level, we can be humble and just accept things like this, which apparently seem samsarish.
I had a question. On Sunday, you talked about the three gunas. The sattvic guna and the rajas and tamas. I didn't quite see, because I've always understood the three gunas in the respect of in relation to one's own personality, of qualities that people have. So to see tamas as a gross that exists in the world, so that sort of created a bit of confusion.
Yeah, super simple. So we have vyashti and samashti. Samashti is the macrocosmic, vyashti is the microcosmic. What you're referring to is you're speaking from the vyashti level, the microcosmic. From the Vyashti level, sattva equals clarity, inspiration, creativity, just purity, like free, like just feel happy. Rajas is that agitating, active, passionate energy of very desirous energy. I want to do something. Let's make something out of this. That's Rajas. And tamas is just energy which you need to sleep, lethargy, stability. It's not only bad, right? You need sometimes stability. You need to stick at one place. For that, I need tamas. That's Vyashti level. Now we go into Samashti level. From the Samashti means what? Microcosmic. So from the Samashti level, Sattva is referred to as all knowledge. Total, all the entire template of all creation. Rajas is that energy which breaks down, which is able to move, which is able to make something happen. Desire, the macrocosmic desire. And tamas on the samashti level is material. Okay? So, and remember, Maya means what? Made up of what? 3 gunas. Okay, so Maya equals 3 gunas, and these 3 gunas permeate through our entire creation. On the macrocosmic, they're used to what? Provide knowledge for everything. They're used to turn the tamas, the material, into something out of the knowledge. And on the microcosmic level, we experience these combinations of these 3 energies, which makes us a different person, a different personality, a different action. Okay, so in summary, 3 gunas equals everywhere.
So now which one comes first, is it?
Huh?
Which one comes first?
Which one came first? No, first is, okay, we'll just say for the sake of mind explanation, sattva. Okay, why? Because the why is more important. In order to have material, I need what? Concept of the material. In order to have desire, what is desire? Even to move, I need a concept of what it means to move. To have desire, I need a concept of what it means to have a desire. So that means I first need knowledge of what all this means for the rest to come. That's the logic.
Yes, actually the gunas is similar to the 5 elements, isn't it? The fire, the heat, rajas, and then the earth.
No, gunas first. Okay, order. Brahman, Maya, gunas, 5 elements. World. That's the order.
I also like how you talked about the gunas as threads tonight, and I was thinking of, is there some sort of string theory?
Oh, good connection, right? Wow. There could be something there, huh? The only thing is the gunas cannot be perceived on the macrocosmic because they're the cause and the effect. We're the effects. So even the string theory, that's an effect of the cause. And the effect can never know the cause. It can only infer or hypothetically infer there must be some cause and then potentially sort of create a model for that. Right?
But you could, I guess, because string theory relies a bit on chaos and order, chaos theory. And Rajas is where the chaos happens, like the Big Bang.
Apparent chaos.
And tamas is more the settling and the actual...
It is. Yeah. I would just add, it's apparent chaos. It's not actual chaos. Because remember, there's sattva, and sattva is all knowledge. If there was chaos in this universe, you'd be afraid to wake up because you don't know if the gravity is going to still hold or not.
But before the Big Bang, there was sattva.
Before the Big Bang refers to the after the 3 gunas have already come into the physical, and before the 3 Bang, there's just subtle 5 elements, but the gunas remain as they are. Okay, so Big Bang means what? The subtle 5 elements have turned into gross 5 elements. As described on Sunday, there's a word for this. When you convert the subtle to the physical, this is called tan matras, and there's a formula how this happens. It's in Tattva Bodha.
You mean E equals MC squared is in Tattva Bodha?
There's a good... We can compare that to a lot of things in Vedanta, actually.
I'm looking forward to that one.
The reason why I asked about the elements is because, like Ayurvedic, they tell you your body itself, like what's too much and what's too little. the air, the fire,
Oh, yeah.
So and then they calculate what kind of diet you should be on, what kind of health benefit you'll be to get all this. So this is why I saw the 5 elements
Yeah.
is in each one of us, but in different degree of it. So
That's true, yeah, because 5 elements create different shapes, different, even thoughts of 5 elements. Everything's 5 elements.
so that is,
Yeah, 5
obviously
elements.
it affects the kind of personality we are.
Absolutely, so the combinations. Okay, careful here now. You said personality. Okay, I need to distinguish this. Personality is determined by the combinations and permutations of the 3 gunas, not of the 5 elements. The 5 elements create the form. That form, the way it moves, the way it expresses, that depends on the 3 gunas.
Even the dosha, the 3 doshas, are different. Ayurvedic dosha.
Doshas.
No,
The body types.
No, I'm not talking about the body types. I'm talking about, actually they tell you that you've got too much heat in your body.
Yeah.
Even Chinese medicine
Yeah, that's
tells you you've got
rajas.
too much heat, or too much, or too cold.
Yeah.
So this is what they say to you, like in treatments from, so.
Yeah, 5 elements creates a form. So you can't. So to say, because that's an energy they're talking about, and so therefore that is the 3 gunas, expressed as fire, expressed as the what coldness and so on.
Dampness is another word.
Dampness.
Damp.
Dampness didn't come in then.
Remember, everything is 5 elements then. Even the emotion is 5 elements, because 5 elements is the final byproduct in the physical universe. And what is the 5 elements? None other than just pure atoms, subatomic particles. So whichever way you look at it, it's the same. But what determines the constituents, that's the 3 gunas. What determines the quality of those 5 elements, or the lack of the quality, that's the 3 gunas.